Bam, we're live. I took 3 deuces this morning. Did you ever drop a deuce and then
double back again?
like you drop a deuce, you finish, you do whatever, wash your hands, maybe start to get dressed again, and then you're like, "Oh." Honestly, 1 week today was 3 deuces.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a record.
And my wife always says to me, "You're shitting again?" I'm like, "Yeah." I think she's jealous. I'm not even joking.
You get 3? I haven't even gone once.
I just looked at my Roadcaster and it wants to update the firmware, and I want to do it so bad, but it would fuck the whole show up for 15 minutes.
I was like, don't do that.
I so want to do it. Hey, in the early days when we started the podcast, Sousa, I would come in and I would see my computer needs to be updated, and with 4 minutes left, I'd do it, and then it would pop up and say process is going to take 40 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
I went to a 15-year affiliate reunion yesterday.
Yeah, how was that?
The owner's cool. The gym's beautiful. To be honest with you, it was a little depressing.
What? Why?
Because you could tell how hard the guy worked. He has a kid. He has a wife. He's got over 100 people there at the party, and you could just from talking to him, I could tell life is still like a struggle. You know what I mean? He's not. Yeah. He's been doing it for 15 years, and he's not sitting on a duplex somewhere that he's not getting ahead.
Yeah.
He's not getting ahead. He's not getting ahead. Allison, what's up, girl? Yo, it actually wasn't in San Diego. It was in San Bernardino County. What's up, Allison? Long time. Good to see you, girl. Allison, are you not posting on your Instagram? I just started following you again yesterday on my new account. And it looked like you had. I was like, has she not posted in 2 years? I wonder what you're up to. Kenneth, what's up, dude? Good morning. Boy, so many things. There was this lady at the affiliate party. What do you call that? 15-year party? 15-year anniversary? 15-year celebration?
Mm-hmm. Both, yeah.
And she was so fucking attractive, and no makeup, just had her hair in a ponytail. I don't know how old she was. I couldn't tell if she was 30, 40, or 50. Her husband was there, really cool dude. She was she just stood out. She was so attractive. And she was really nice, and I hung out with her a bunch, and I talked to her. And when we left, she gives me this big, huge, crazy hug. And she goes, I really like you. And she looked down. She looked me over, looked my body over with her eyes. And she's, I really like, I forget how she said it, but I really like how feminine you are, or something like that. It was something. It was crazy though. It was wild. And I've been wearing these joggers that I got in the Gaines box.
Mm-hmm.
These barbell cartel joggers. And I've been I really like them, and it's all I wear now. But I'm starting to think that I look like Roman Krennikov. I think maybe it looks like I'm wearing almost like Lululemons. Do you know what I mean? Like skin tight pants. Yeah. And I'm thinking maybe I should not maybe I shouldn't be wearing these. I don't know. But she scanned me up and down, and she told me
she scans you, and then says,
but maybe I'm also in denial. Maybe you know, like the gay kid in high school. He's good looking. He hangs out with all the hot chicks.
Yeah.
I got she was saying, I like being. You're safe. You like you're impotent. You're safe. Yeah. I feel like maybe I'm just walking around looking like that, but I don't have the rest of it to if that's just straight gay what he's wearing. And by gay I mean if that's apparel that's supposed to seduce men, then maybe, but he's got enough muscle to compensate it and other things going on that he doesn't straight turn into hey, that guy's on Grindr. I don't know. Sevan, you're having a midlife crisis.
No, is that what it is? Jeffrey's got it figured out for us. Wait, Olivia, I told you that before. Oh,
What did she say? Oh, she did? What did she say? Where is that?
it's just right here, but she just said, I told you that before.
Oh, man. You did tell me that? Man. So, do I have to stop? Do I need to stop wearing these? Because I started as we were flying back from San Diego and I was like dozing off in my sleep. I'm like, so is everywhere I've been going for the last 2 months, all the other parents are like, hey, that father's in transition. Do you have any people in your circle who are going through transition? Like anyone who goes to your gym or like
You mean like not like transitioning from like male to female, but just like in a
no,
season of their life?
no. I mean that like you go to Starbucks and there's a dude there, and all of a sudden every day you go there for the last 3 years, he's getting more and more feminine, and one day he's a girl. Do you have anyone in your circle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did. We did.
So I'm wondering, are people like, man, at least I cut my hair. Someone in the comments said that I look like a Italian bag lady, and I told, when I looked in the mirror, when I had my hair long, I was like, oh yeah, I see that. Like, you know what I mean? Like she lost her what are those things called that you squeeze and your girl, like, you know, your girl's looking in the mirror and she's pulling hair, tweezers. It was like I look like an Italian lady who lost her tweezers. If you're a woman, I know you get that. You know exactly what I'm saying.
Oh, Olivia's going hard.
What? And that sucks too, because she's hot as fuck. That's the last.
I know. That's why I keep bringing it up.
You look like Roman and need to quit that look. It's not attractive. Shit. All right. Okay. All right. Now here's the other side. There's this video. I'll play this video for you. This video is. I did not enjoy this video at all. And then I didn't know who this was. Let me see if you know who this is. Do you know who this is? And do you recognize any of these people in this picture? Don't read anything. I don't think it says their name. Okay, so you don't recognize these people. Okay.
No.
One of these people you know.
Oh.
And I watched this video last night. My wife sent it to me last night and I watched it. I'm like, this is so stupid. Oh. And then but I wouldn't tell my wife that. I'm like, oh, okay, Actually, I would tell her. And then this morning she told me about it. I'm like, yeah, that was stupid. But then she told me who it is in the video. You know who it is very clearly. But listen to this video. It's kind of long. Here we go.
Of my niece and I from one weekend morning. She'd slept over and we got up and we're having tea and playing cards and having this beautiful morning. It was great. I felt great about it. And my sweet little niece reposted it a couple of days later. And interesting things happened. The amount of people that felt absolutely required to talk about how terrible I looked in the picture. That I'm not aging well, that I look like a man. Why would I even post a picture like this when I look that terrible? People saying, God, I didn't even recognize her. This is what she looks like. And then the fights that break out within the comments where someone says, you should be nice. Why should I be nice? She looks terrible. And people start fighting within the comments. I was amazed at what that made me feel. I'm a 50-year-old woman, and I know who I am. And still, my feelings got hurt. I was so hurt that people couldn't see the point of it, the sweetness of it, the absolute shining joy of that photo. And I thought, God, what if I was 15? That's just devastating. And it really made me see all the things about hearts and clicks and likes, and you realize there is something neurological about this whole system. It was fascinating to me, and I think it taught me a lot about being a young person in today's society. I posted a picture.
Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
I thought after it started playing, I was like, oh, wait.
So I didn't know till this morning. And the thing is I don't think that there's any amount of Sevan, you're fugly, or you look like you suck cock for a living that could affect me. That's the other flip side of it. Like, I don't care at all. I think maybe I pretend like I care because it's a safe place to pretend. Like it's a you know how like a magician would use sleight of hand and be like, look over here, look over here, look over here. So I pretend like I care, so it keeps all the attacks over here. Like I'm like, look, that hurts. Attack me over there, but really, like it doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because God forbid you actually say something that actually hurts me. Like someone posted in the comments, what a waste of money it is to take the level 1. That hurts me way more than hey, you look like you suck dick for a living, and you look like you're turning to Italian bag lady. I mean, look at this. There's a crazy comment in here already. Let me see this one. Bernie. Won't Sevan always be? Look at it. Just is. This guy's just like delegating reality. It's not even a discussion. Won't Sevan always be the artsy feminine dude who probably has a hammer, but he's just not a masculine presence in the room? Man.
Damn, Bird.
Man.
Damn.
Oh, man. Augustus Link, insult Sevy all you want. Just don't say anything bad about Greg or anything Greg made. Yeah, I do like the interaction. And what Allison says, I see how it could mess with a teenager for sure. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. First of all, I think when I look at this picture, I just see 2 beautiful women who obviously just woke up in the morning. And so for anyone to call them ugly, and I don't mean this, I want to say this without the normal like showmanship that I usually say in the morning. But if you're attracted to tattoos and fake boobs and collagen and makeup and high heels and deodorants and shampoos and fancy cars and all of that stuff, to if those are the things that your radar attracts you to, and the smell of synthetic toothpaste on people's breaths and all that, I'm 100% certain, as I am about anything, that something's wrong with you. You should be in your healthiest state. You should be attracted to someone who just walks out of the ocean with their hair looking thick as shit from salt water, with no makeup on and the sun shining on them with natural lighting, with a smile on their face. And they've been living that lifestyle for 10 years. These guys, you know, that who's the guy who goes on Joe Rogan's podcast and other podcasts, and he's like the guru guy. He was really big a couple years ago, and he's always saying all these wise things. Someone will say in the comments, but he's just this hairy old guy.
Okay.
And he has a name that starts with an S, like Sidhu or
Sengru or
yeah. Good job, Souza.
yeah.
That guy doesn't look like for a second that anyone's worried about whether he's attractive or fuckable.
Sanguru. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the guy on The Simpsons? He was the farmer, and he was an old man. And then in some episodes, he would just tear off his shirt, and he was all jacked and shit.
Yeah, Willie the groundskeeper.
Was
that who you thinking of?
No, not in Liver King. Like, you see Liver King, and you should know right away something's wrong there too.
Yeah.
Do you believe this? Let me take a few steps back. Do you think that there's something here? So the other day I'm driving, and there's someone I hadn't thought of in like 3 years, and then 2 hours later they call me, and I haven't talked to him in 3 years. Or this used to happen all the time at work because I spent so much time with Dave and Greg. I would say something to Dave, and he'd be like, "How do you know that?" And I'm like, "I don't know that. I'm just asking you." And you're just on sync with these people. You're on just there's a comms going on out there. I'm not talking about nuances and gestures or like what boxers see. If someone flinches, they know that hip movement means a roundhouse is coming. I'm talking about maybe like something in the ether, that this thing that we call space isn't really space, that we are actually in something that has form, and somehow we're all communicating in a way that we don't know we're communicating.
Yeah.
Do you buy that? Does everyone buy that? Is there anyone who doesn't buy that? I should ask Greg that, because he's extremely logical. I wonder if he buys that.
Yeah. I think to a certain degree, and even the more success that you've had in life, I think you even buy it even more.
Right.
And if you don't, you're ignoring it. And I always think they're like frequencies. And sometimes you could get like really tuned into someone's frequency to where like, it's all fuzzy, it's fuzzy. Then you hit the knob and it's like in sync.
Yeah.
That's the way I kind of like visualize it as it's happening.
One of the most powerful ones I had was I wasn't in college, but I was living in the college town, and I was dating Haley at the time. And for about 2 weeks, I all of a sudden got really paranoid I was going to die. It was so strange. I started getting this crazy paranoia. I started being terrified of my own death. And then lo and behold, about 2 weeks after having that, I was walking one night, and that's the night I saw the guy in the car hit 5 people and kill them and jump out and scream, "I'm the angel of death."
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I remember that night telling Haley, "Oh shit, it wasn't my own death." Like somehow I had some awareness that this was something was gonna happen. But but because my frequency, the fidelity of my understanding, it wasn't my own death, it was someone else's. It was death, just death.
Yeah.
And it was
just interpreted it as your own, but
because of the ego or whatever, because it's always all about you, me, I.
Yeah, that's crazy. Stuff like that happens all the time, I feel like, too.
And so if we buy that notion, then all of these other things would just be interference with it. The cell phone, the fake boobs, the high heels, the deodorants, all the things that would come in that would interfere with that signal, that frequency, those comms. What's your point, Sevi? So when I see Julia Roberts here, and I see people in that space, they haven't put it in context or relativity with the humanity that they are swimming in. We are not swimming in. We're not swimming with creatures that have high quality discernment of what is attractive. We are not. We are not. And I guess at the end of the day, what would be the best mate for the procurement of the success of the species? I remember one time Greg said to me, "You know why the Jews are so successful, right?" And I go, "No, why?" He said, "They find hard work and intelligence as sexy."
So they're open to it. They're looking for it.
Somehow in that culture, they have found hard work and intelligence as sexy and so forth. They mate based on that premise.
Yeah. Well, imagine finding a culture that doesn't value hard work and thinks that things should be owed.
Right.
What would that produce, right?
There's this. Do you remember being a kid? What about this? Again, I don't have the answer to this. Do you remember that being a kid and you'd be like, "How do you know when you're going to get married?" And people would be like, "You just know."
Yeah.
Did you just know? How did you know?
I guess after like a long time, you're like, "Oh, this is my girlfriend," and then you go, that doesn't really describe the relationship as it should be. It's more than just that.
I think some people just get married because it's probably on some level, hey, I need to do this so I can get on to the next thing.
100%. And I think the younger kids get married like that. It doesn't end well.
Or it's logical. Okay, she's a nurse, she's stable, I'm speaking from the man's point of view. She's attractive. They don't do the long-term look like, okay, she thinks well, and we can get through some really hard. I could get through some really hard. I mean, that's probably a barometer. I could get through some really hard times with this girl. Hey, could we live in a van together?
Yeah, and I think you definitely have to. I think there's a book called like 101 Questions to answer before getting married or something like that. But it starts to break that down. I don't know. I actually didn't listen to it or read it, but it was basically the premise of it from some of the stuff I watched was just like asking those big life questions. So that way it's not a surprise because most people won't. And the number one question it was around the most is finances.
Oh,
because that's the number one reason for divorce is finances. And so like, if you're somebody who's like, I don't really care, we'll do this. I don't, it's not important to me. I don't have a savings, or we just are going in two separate directions with that. Like that's something that you can't just ignore, because eventually that's not going to work. And so it kind of leads you down questions like that.
I think this is on the most superficial level. I'm just throwing this out here as a immediate quick thought. I find it okay for a woman to be attracted to a man who she thinks is going to make a lot of money, or who has a lot of money, because that offers stability, right?
Right.
That
Security,
offers
stability.
someone who can repair the refrigerator without worrying about it. They'll be at peace. They won't be stressed out. They can pay the rent. And I think for a man to be attracted to a woman, he should find a woman that's really attracted to him. Like, I think as a man, you need a woman who's like crazy attracted to you. Like, don't worry how much you're attracted to her. You need a woman who is like really, really attracted to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like who you are.
Yeah. Champions you, doesn't want to like slow you down or deter you from what you're trying to go after.
Because as a man, especially as a man, you're going to have these needs from a woman, and they're going to come naturally and easier for her if she's really attracted to you. So if you think that, oh, well, I'm not as attracted to her, I think that could be Jay Hartle, marry your hype woman. Yeah. So addicted to your scent. Well, that's interesting you say that, because my wife to this day loves the way I smell. Loves the way I smell. Yeah, maybe it's as simple as that.
Could be.
Anyway, so someone called me some hot chick called me a homo at the party, and then Julia Roberts kind of got me thinking. It's like, dude, like, it's so obvious to me you're not unattractive. But also, I like what Allison said too. If you're a young kid, I mean, I used to walk around I had a brush everywhere with me in high school, so I was obsessed with brushing my hair, making sure my hair looked perfect. I had one in my truck, one in my backpack, one in my locker. When I was in the second grade, I carried a comb in my back pocket. Did you ever carry a comb in your back pocket?
No.
Fuck, I was cool.
Sounds cool.
Did any kids at your school? Did any kids at your school carry a comb in your back pocket?
Well, I specifically remember the one that was made to look like a switchblade, but when you flick the button, it like opened up into a comb. And
I got those for my kids. Back pocket.
Oh, see, like Cody says it too. Switchblade comb.
I had this one. I'll show you. I had this one. I'll show you which one I had. I had this one. And the handle would hang out of my back pocket like that. Yeah, I watched too much Grease. Yeah, it was like that. I watched Grease 100 times as a kid. Right?
Look at you.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a comb my Uncle Bob used to carry. He was cool.
Did he have one in his back pocket?
Yeah.
Now I haven't used a brush or a comb. I can't remember. It's been over 30 years. My kids don't use brushes or combs. I wonder if they're going to go through that. Yeah, Fonz. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I was happy. Yeah, I liked Happy Days too. I love Fonzie. Oh yeah, Fonzie. Did Fonzie carry a comb in his back pocket?
Yeah, and then he would pull it out.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hey. All right.
Hey, has any of the boys started like rebelling against the way you want them to dress, or just superficial shit that now they're trying to take control of?
No, but my wife told me yesterday. She's like, "Hey, I don't really think the boys should be wearing girls' pants anymore."
Which is ironic given our whole conversation right now.
She's like, "Hey, for those of you who don't know, my boys are always in they're girls' stretch pants that I just get on Amazon, and then they wear wife beaters. They look like ballerinas, and then they look like male ballerinas, and then they wear wife beaters, and then they wear Argyle vests, and on top of that, they wear Argyle sweater, just always."
Yep, Grace calls it the uniform.
The uniform, yeah, they got the uniform.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, and they're pretty yoked, and they all have like huge asses because of how much squatting and jumping we do. I mean, we do a lot of squatting and jumping, and so they have these little bulbous asses, and it's pretty funny. I'm not going to push back on it at all. Good morning.
Do other parents trip out when they see like Avi's arm? It's
No.
not a normal arm, dude. Like his shoulder and his tricep, it doesn't look, it looks normal in anatomy, but not on somebody his age,
Yeah, I can't believe more people don't trip on it.
Mm-hmm. I noticed it right away in the videos when he pulls himself up on something. I'm like, damn, how is his arms look better than mine?
Yeah, his arms and his chest and his shoulders and his back. Yeah. And all of them are starting to get like that.
It's crazy. He looks like it's starting to become like a Greek god, like chiseled out of the marble, how you just see like with like just like crazy ripped and like everything's defined from like those statues. You're like, oh, that's how you build it like that. You just start him when they're fucking 5. By the time he's 25, it'll just be.
We were at the skate park the other day, and he was wearing blue underwear, like dark blue underwear, like tighty whities, and I could see it through the back of his pants. He had ripped a flap in the back of his girl's stretch pants. And he comes over to me and he takes off his helmet and sweat's pouring out. And he sits down and he's like, God, I got a tear in my pants. He goes, I'm done skating. And I look at him and I go, please don't tell me you give a shit that people can see your underwear. He goes, no, I don't give a shit. He goes, I'm just tired. I'm like, okay. Because if I tore a hole in my pants and I was 9 years old, that'd be it. I'd run to the car and be crying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That someone saw my underwear. I'd be toast.
For sure.
I so don't want him to be a little bitch.
I wonder how much of that has to do with public school.
Probably. Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? We were hanging out with some kids the other day and the kids called him fat. They said he was fat. I know. He has a fucking 8-pack and someone called him fat. Yeah.
That's okay.
He told me that. I'm like, what do you think? They're fucking crazy. He's like, I'm so buff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I remember I got in trouble when my dad took away like my baggy jeans in the 5th grade. And I had to go to school with like normal sized jeans on, and then you would have thought like the world fucking. I still remember it now at 36. You would have thought
traumatized.
Oh yeah. I got in trouble and was like, guess what? You're not wearing any of this dumb shit to school. Put on a polo in the tighter slack pants. And I was like, no. And it's not because I really cared how I like dressed in it. It was fine. It was comfortable, but I just knew.
Yeah.
I was going to go to school and everybody's going to look at me and I was going to feel like a weirdo.
Did you get picked on?
Like, or did picked on?
No, but did anyone say anything about those pants you wore that day?
I can't even remember, to be honest, but I just remember how I felt trying to like wear them to school.
So I was at the airport the other day. I was at the private airport. It's all fucking filthy rich people, and we're getting into Greg's beautiful plane. And there's a plane next to me, and it's a father and wife and the 2 kids, and the kids were dressed. I would be so bummed if my kids were dressed like that. Like you couldn't see their bodies at all. They were in the baggiest pants and the baggiest shirt, and it just looked. It looked cumbersome. Like in a heavy wind, it would catch their clothes and blow them away. Do you know? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. If my boys ever start dressing like, and all their skater friends dress like that. So all the skater friends dress in, like when we go to the skate park, my kids are always amongst the best skaters there, if not usually the best, but occasionally there's kids who are better. But all the kids are dressed in all the skater gear, baggy shirt, the special skater shoes, the crazy baggy pants.
Yep.
They don't even strap their helmet all the way.
Oh, of course.
And my
not.
kids, but those kids all love my kids. Like they all gravitate to my kids. They like, but yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah, your boys definitely have a magnetic pull. I imagine it's probably really strong at the skate park. Because not often do you see kids that roll up and then all of a sudden you just start seeing them shredding and you're like, oh, it's attractive,
And they're not dicks about it either. Some kids will come to the skate park and just start going as hard as they can to let every kid there know how good they are.
Oh yeah, yep.
My kids don't do that shit at all.
Yeah, we used to be assholes at the skate park sometimes.
They just chill. I went to the when I went to this 15-year reunion, they had a CEO flag banner that Vindicate sells, like this,
cool.
like this thing.
Yep.
That made me feel good. And they had the OG Culture one up.
Cool.
And the owner pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, I just want to tell you, you're the realest dude ever. And I really appreciate what you're doing to maintain the culture at CrossFit and just keep it real." And I just stood there stoic. I didn't want to like give like a dumb like smile, or I stood there and I just said thank you. And it hit me because that's the second time I've heard that kind of in a week or two. That the compliments Chris Cooper gave me the other day kind of like hit me hard too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't usually hear any of that, or I don't get that feedback. But basically, like, hey, you're a cornerstone of what is CrossFit.
Mm-hmm. More so than the company.
Right. I think that's right.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I know. I was bummed I missed you too, Sleeky. Greg and I were looking for you. Me and Greg and Dale were looking for you. Oh, so you know who I'm talking about, who had the crazy hot wife there too. My God, she's beautiful. Holy
you went with
shit.
Dale too? That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Which Dale? Saran or?
Saran, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I just got to sit in the plane and listen to him and Greg talk about smart shit. Dale, they're so funny too.
Yeah.
We were laughing so hard.
Yeah. I every time I've had the pleasure of being around Dale Saran for a little bit, he's got incredible stories.
Great stories.
And amazing pictures to back it up. Like he was telling us the wildest shit from his past career. And I'm looking at him like, is this guy for real with all this? And he's like, okay, hold on. And he goes through all the pictures and he's like, it's kind of like a Forrest Gump moment where you're like, you did all that? Seriously? And then he like shows you all the pictures as he's talking about it. And you're like, oh shit.
We went into the FBO, the little airport, fancy airport, and they had a grand piano there. And it's this huge room with like there would like be like a McLaren parked inside there, that like someone's selling, and then a bunch of big models of airplanes around, and the fanciest coffee machine that you can just use. And it's just a place where all the rich people wait. And then there's a grand piano, and the ceilings are high. They're like 50, 60, 70 foot ceilings, like airplane hanger. Wow. And Dale gets in there and walks right over to the piano and starts playing this classical music on the piano, and it echoes in the whole place. I'll post the video. It was really cool.
That is really cool. I've always been jealous of people that could do that, but I've never been committed enough to learn piano to do it myself.
You think you would learn a musical instrument? You think they're still like it's something you see in your future?
I would love to. It's just time allocation. I lived at the old house that I lived at, the house for degenerates is what we called it. That had a drum set in it, and one of my roommates was like one of these guys that it didn't matter what the instrument was. Like he could pick it up and start playing it like crazy. Like his family came from musical background and stuff like that. And so I learned the easiest of the instruments during that time, which was drums. And
how is that guy's like hygiene? People who are
low to poor.
People who are really see that's the thing. That's the thing. Time allocation. There's a trade-off. Yeah. Like the dude who's really, really good at all the instruments, he's not so much worried about brushing his hair.
You're absolutely right. Like
or even getting a haircut.
But
no, not disgusting, but yeah.
Definitely low on the list. Yeah.
Yeah. He's worn those pants for 5 days in a row.
Yep. Yeah.
I change my pants 3 times a day. Yeah. And I can't play anything.
Yeah, you're right. He was. He was.
I got this email from a guy. And it said, I'm paraphrasing. Hey, it was pretty aggressive. I don't know the guy. And says, hey, your behind the scenes would do way better if you finished it earlier and quicker and released it closer to the event date. And he went on, like 6 sentences too long, pounding it into me. And I wanted to say something like kind of crazy to him, but I didn't. I just wrote back, okay, thanks. Then in the morning, he wrote back, hey, I'm just telling you, if you'd released it earlier, I would have paid $20, $50, or $100 for it. Sorry if I came across like a dick. And then this time I didn't respond.
Yeah.
And first of all, so you guys know, the behind the scenes doesn't make any money. No matter let's say the behind the scenes, I'll tell you, let's say the behind the scenes costs $60,000 to make. Right? So you have to pay the editors. As much as I joke around with you guys that no one gets paid, people get paid. People are putting in a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And then you have to fly the team of 6 people out there to Madison. And you want to pay for their food, and you got to buy an extra camera here, and everyone wants to be treated right. And then the benefit for the Sevan podcast is that it's just incredible for our brand value, right? For lack of a better word, just draws a ton of traffic here, makes you guys like me more, makes you listen to shows like this more. So there's a synergy there, right? So it's Susan and I do it, and we know that no matter what, when we release it, it's going to be good. Mm-hmm. Straight to the point. Jay Hartle, when are we getting episode 11? Right after the show, you'll get it. Let me address that really quick too, just so you know, because some people don't know, and I understand they don't know. The goal was to release one every Monday or Wednesday, but I want you to know that all of you who gave the money up, who are paying for the memberships, you're helping us like raise the money to pay for the taxes on the $60,000 we got to pay for it, and that you're helping us save money to do. We used a bunch of the money to go Wadapalooza. We're just pumping the money back in, but I feel zero obligation to actually release one every Monday and Wednesday, besides the fact that I'm doing it as hard as I can. So if we ever renege on that, or you don't get them or something, that was on you. You took the risk. Time code that 36 minutes. Mm-hmm. Anytime you give us money, you're doing it in good faith. We're everyone on the team is trying as hard as they can. Everyone on the team is working, is available 24 hours, 365 days a year with the other people to make sure that this gets out. And there's so many hands involved, from the final thing of Dave actually watching them. And it's a lot to ask Dave with his full-time job to watch all 15 episodes. And so he's fallen behind a little bit. And so what we've been doing is we've been releasing them without even showing him. And so the risk of that is that he could be like, we look at them and I make sure that there's nothing in there that I think Dave would be concerned about, of course. But the risk of that is Dave could be like, hey, fuck you, you're not doing that again, blah, blah, you know. So there's a whole game going on. The game's not the right word. There's a whole process going on for us to try to get these out as fast as possible. But if you're a member, you're just a member because you're a good dude and you see that we're working hard and that you're just helping us. You're voting with your money to keep us doing what we do. So just so you know. So there's a few people now who are writing, hey, I thought these were going to come out every Monday, Wednesday. Yes, so did we.
Yeah.
But we're not, no one's sitting around like this. I'm not at the arcade or at the bar drinking or none of that shit. This is my life.
Also, to that point, we also never said, hey, when you become a member, you're going to have 2 Wadapalooza documentaries. And
all that. And you guys are going to get more too. There's going to be more great shit coming out, but
there might even be something from the Health Summit eventually.
Right. For something great coming from the Health Summit. Jay Hartle, when are we getting episode? And I didn't take what Jay is saying in that group, by the way. I know Jay's not complaining that it's late. I know he's just excited to see it. I didn't mean to put that on Hartle. 99% of you guys are like, get it. I know. Mm-hmm. But there's a few people who aren't regular listeners to the show, so they don't realize what a shit show it is, and they think it's like we're Coca-Cola and shit, and our new Coke's coming out tomorrow. No, we're just cruising. We're just cruising. Lauren, have either of you read Do Hard Things? I have not.
I have not either.
Single ski water skiers. So this guy writes that to me, and I'm thinking, he doesn't know how much it cost. He doesn't know how long it is to edit. He doesn't realize. Really think about this for a second on all the implications. The CrossFit Games behind the scene is the most viewed content, minute by minute, minute-wise, minutes viewed, than any content in the CrossFit, for sure at CrossFit HQ, Games or .com, of any content made worldwide. Like anything that like the Buttery Bros have done, and anything that Mayhem's done, anything these other powerhouses have done. And unfairly also, it's because there's more episodes and they're longer. But just know it's the most minutes watched, hands down. And the second most minutes watched ever, the most minutes watched on .com ever of any content is the Killing the Fat Man series. So those are both my projects. I was been there since 2008. I'm arguably the greatest chief marketing officer that's ever lived on fucking planet Earth. So when someone, and I'm doing it all, there's no, I don't have any long-term business plan. That all sits in Sousa's head. I'm just a cow out in the field eating grass, and Sousa moves me from field to field. So I just want to put that in perspective for you. So when people are like giving me these advices and stuff, like you're the kind of person. Some of it, I'm really open to a lot of feedback. There's people in my group who like Will Branstetter. I respect the fuck out of him. If he were to be like, do this, I would just do it.
Yeah,
Susan and I would just do it. I don't even care if he's wrong. I just want. I appreciate how he just wants to try certain things. But you wouldn't tell a base jumper, "Hey, dude, your craft would be way cheaper if you didn't wear a squirrel suit. Just jump. It'll be your last jump, and it'll be super cheap." And that person's accurate, but they don't understand what happens when you hit the bottom, or it's just really poor advice, even though it makes perfect sense to them. And I get the other day, this is not a dig at Keith Knapp, but someone's like, "Hey, you should hire Keith Knapp because he'll teach you about brand marketing." And I'm just like, the librarian has read Dr. Seuss in front of kids 3,000 times. She is not going to teach Jay-Z shit about rap. Or if she is, she better like start with her credentials up front. So, Sean M, you mean before we get to behind the scenes number 11, we got to watch this whole dumb show? No, you go take a shit or something, or go outside and throw a tennis ball against the wall and catch it with your right and left hand 200 times when you're done. Unbroken, of course. Does Trump have shoes? Sevi, you need to compete with Trump and make your own CEO shoes.
I like that picture.
You think that's America, or you think that's a foreign land?
At first, I thought it was like foreign, like Italy or something,
because of the architecture of the bridge.
Yeah, but I just like it because it looks like it's at like sunset and the lights are coming on, and that's a cool vacation shot. You can be sitting there with the spicy marg as the sun's going down, looking at that bridge. You know that's
thank you. You know your audience, spicy marg. So there's that. But just doing some house cleaning, just some thoughts I've been having.
Mm-hmm.
Release the behind the scenes closer to the games to get more views, maybe. But that was something that Dave was always telling me too. How come you can't do it faster? And I'm open to that, and I hear it. It's just the way it was said, and that I don't know his credentials, and that guy probably doesn't know the context that hey, it's been doing amazing. It's been doing amazing. And hey, and part of me also, like, I don't expect anyone to know that either. I expect people maybe to be aware of or open to the idea that there's stuff they don't know. But even the people, so there's a woman over there who's second in command at the CrossFit Games. Her name's Heather Lawrence. She's like Dave's main general, and she has been absolutely amazing through the entire filming of the behind the scenes. And then as we make the episode, she's been giving us compliments that she probably doesn't realize how powerful they are, how much they like
mean to us.
Yeah, mean to us. But no one else at HQ is saying great job or thanks for the commercials or any of that. But I also don't expect it because I know everyone else has their head down and is doing their own shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect it at all. And we're crazy overstimulated here over at the Sevan Podcast because everything's crazy. We're about to have our biggest fucking month ever. I mean, it is absolute. Our numbers are just absolutely nuts right now. We're on a tear. So,
hey, can I ask you a question real quick about the frequency thing from the earlier in the show? I wanted to ask you this. Hey, have you heard of that? And I haven't read or listened to this, but have you heard of that book called The Secret? And it's like about the manifestation.
Yeah. I read those books.
Where do you stand on that? And I guess let me frame it like this. Like, I think that stuff works, but only if as you're thinking about what you're trying to accomplish, you're actually like working towards it. Like, I don't think I could lock myself in the room and just think like, okay, we're going to have the most successful podcast ever. And like, it appears like we have to think that all the time, but then our actions have to also be in alignment with those thoughts. Like, that's where I kind of am at it. But where do you stand on the whole thing?
I don't think that 30 people could sit in a circle and look at the center of the circle. There'll be a little taped X on the floor in the center of them, and they all think Lamborghini. And Lamborghini, in time, with all that energy they put into those thoughts, will show up, materialize.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I used to play this game with my wife, and it was called the manifestation game. And we would wake up in the morning, and every other day you would get a turn. So my wife would say rooster, and then we would go about our day. And the second one of us saw a rooster, we would say rooster, and that would be and then you won, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one day I said Babadas, or Ramdas or something. I said some guru's name, Babadas. I think it was Babadas. And I had my first meeting that day with Tony Budding, the head of media at CrossFit HQ. He's the only person on the media team at HQ. And I drove to Santa Cruz, and I sat down with him, and it was like 9:00 at night, and we're in his living room, and I'm sitting on the floor, and I'm talking to him, and he goes, "Yeah, I used to write books for Babadas."
No shit.
And I text Haley, I'm like, "Well, I got it, Babadas." And the reason why we stopped playing that game is one day I said to Haley $500,000, or she said it. I can't remember. It probably sounds like something I would say. And she said, okay. And later on in that day, she got hit by a car. And it ended up being really, really bad. She almost lost her leg. And 6 months later, when that case was settled, she got $500,000 from the insurance company.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Did you, when you saw the sum, or like realized this?
Right away. Right away. Right away.
Fuck.
Right away. We both looked at each other like, oh shit.
Oh, be careful what you wish for, huh?
Wow. And then I know I'm not answering your question.
No, you are. Yeah.
And then there's the thing, there's the thing that I said to my buddy one time. We were in college, and my buddy goes, "Man, dude," he goes, "you miss so many good asses." And I go, "Why?" He goes, "Because you're always looking at tits." And that's the line that thieves only see a world full of wallets and purses. And it's just there's obviously, and then on top of that, I guess I'm just trying to throw. I feel like you laid out a big pot, and now I'm just trying to throw things into it to make the stew. But there's also that thing that Patrick the book you told me to read that Patrick Bet-David made, the first book, is you have to already see yourself where you want to be 5 years ahead, and the world will catch up. And although Greg didn't talk in this self-help book shit, he did that all the time. He would run so far ahead into the future and be telling stories that almost seemed like they were lies, and then 3 years later they were true. And I used to always think, wow, Greg can see the future. So there's so many successful people say what you say, it's endless ways that it's being said. That all those laws of attraction, and I don't know what the mechanism is. I don't know what the mechanism is, but I do believe there's something at work.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I do believe there's something at work. But then also I've known other people who are completely into all this shit, and they live a life of fucking misery and debt, and they're obese, and their shit's just all fucked up. But they read all these books, and they're always preaching it, and it's like, but their shit's all fucking sideways.
Yeah, because they're probably not internally acting upon like the same way they're externally talking about it, right? It's like there's a big difference between reading something and then reading something and taking that knowledge and acting on it. So I think there's like a lot of like ignoring. What was shit? How did I forget his name? The guy that just showed up back into your life.
Raymond. Yeah, Raymond. A great
Raymond.
Example. Yeah, bizarre example.
Yeah, well, he was talking about how to train it to make it stronger with the
Oh, you were at the house? You met him?
Yeah.
Oh. And how did he say to train it and make it stronger?
By taking the beads and then in your mind visualizing the bead like moving over, and then as you're visualizing it, you move it over, like physically move the bead over. So you're concentrating to where it's like you're seeing it first for that split second, and then you're moving it over. You're seeing it first. And he was talking about manifestation, and I said, okay, how could I just manifest $50 million? Just a normal smart ass comment.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, what do you know about money? And I said, well, what do you mean? And he goes, what's the origin of it? Why does it exist? What's the, what's happening with it right now? What does it actually mean? And what is it? And I was like, interesting. And he goes, and once you study and learn more about it and the mechanisms of how it works and why it's here, he goes, it'll find its way to you.
That's interesting. Greg one time told me that, and I can't believe I'd never thought of this. He said, money is human energy.
Mm-hmm.
When you start thinking of it like that, and it's that, by the way, all your perspectives on the way people behave will change, by the way. Your tolerance for stealing when you realize it's human energy goes way down.
Yeah, for sure. Mine definitely does. You know who recently said that too is Elon Musk.
That money's human energy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like within the last month, I've heard him talk about that.
Yeah, we've agreed as a civilization that it's equal to human energy.
Yeah. And it's also equal to time. And it also can't exist without a debt existing. So like money can't exist without a debt. The two, like it's like a yin and yang thing. That's what I learned after talking to Raymond too.
OG Micropen, money is here for cocaine and titties.
From Twitch. What's up, OG Micropen?
Oh, good catch. The Twitch listener. There was something funny that Jeremy Eat World said. I don't know what this has to do with anything, but this is great. Sticking feathers up your butt doesn't make you a chicken.
It's true.
Yeah, I was going to say something about the podcast, but it can wait.
It's like, sorry, I derailed that.
No. You didn't. It's good. It's good. I think all those books are important for everyone to read, like The Secret and all those books, just to get stir those juices. Whether it's true or not, I think that there's a net benefit to stirring all those juices. There's another one too. There's a bunch of them. There's this one where I can't remember what the name of it. It's a whole series of books, but this lady talks to like God or spirits or something, and conversations with Abraham or some shit like that.
Interesting.
OMG, he's reading Twitch comments.
What mouth sounds? Welcome to the show.
So that's that. Everything's good. Life's good. It was fun.
Yeah. Are we purposely not? Are you not revealing the gym?
Oh no, I don't remember the name of the gym. You think that's wrong? I don't remember the name of the gym.
Do you remember the name of the owner?
Rich.
Riverside.
It's in Riverside. It's in San Bernardino. Riverside. It's in San Bernardino County. I don't think it's CrossFit Riverside.
Oh, okay. What's his last name? Oliveras?
Yeah, maybe. That sounds right. He looked like an Oliveras. He looked like a Mexican dude. Lots of black-haired people there.
Oh yeah, CrossFit Riverside. Richard Oliveras. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Slicky's got it. Okay, cool. Yeah. Great dude.
Insane gym, dude. Holy shit, it had so much equipment. That's the thing I was blown away when I went to your gym. This gym, when I go to gyms and there's like, dude, there were 20 rowers and 20 bikes and 20 ski ergs. And I'm like, how does someone pay for all that?
Yeah.
How in the hell does someone pay for that? Someone wrote in the comments that a level 1 isn't worth $1,000. And I said, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, what they expect out of it. That's like the conversation.
And they said, if you're not going to become a coach or open an affiliate, you don't need your level 1. And I thought, man, what a missed opportunity. But then I said that, and this person responded, well, you should be getting that taught at your local affiliate. And I used to go to the park by my house in Berkeley. There was a 400-meter track there. I ended up finding out it was a 333-meter track. Did I ever tell you that story about how I used to run it? Yeah, I was fucked up. And I would run these 59-second 400s. And I would be like, fuck, dude, I am fast. Anyway, found out it was 333 meters.
Oh my goodness.
So who the fuck does that? Who makes a 333 meter track?
Yeah, that's weird.
What idiocy.
Somebody fucked up, huh?
And they had
it or something.
And they had pull-up bars there and shit, and everything. So I would load up all the weights in the back of my truck, and me and my wife would go work out there. And I started building up. People would start working out with us. Hey, can we work out with you? And so I had a group of people who work out with us. And I always warmed up with my version of one of the level 1 movement lectures. Always. Push press, push jerk, air squat, overhead squat, deadlift. I always warmed up, and I always just talked about, and that's what we did for 15 or 20 minutes. Always. I assume that's what every gym in the world did. I assume that every single fucking, and it just was on repeat, the 9 movements. That's what I thought every gym did. And they don't. They don't, and I get, I don't know how you do it at your gym, but I personally can't. And I only did that for probably like 2 years, and I never had more than like 10 people in a class.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine ever teaching a class without going over a movement. And the movements that were going to be in the workout.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, the best CrossFitter in the world. Like if Rich Froning comes to your gym and he's going to work out, and the first 15 minutes are going to be a squat therapy, he's going to be stoked. He's not going to be upset. He's not going to be like, dude, I already know this. He's going to get an insane warm up out of it.
Yep. Yeah. It's gonna.
If you own a gym, how are you not? I would be teaching the level 1 just over and over and over. So when he said that, I was like, oh yeah. I mean, I still think he's wrong. You're crazy. If you are a parent and you haven't taken your level 1, you're hugely missing out. Like if your wife's pregnant and you're a dude, you should go take your level 1. You will use all of the stuff in there, not even the movement stuff, just the big principle stuff. Like, hey, you get dramatic adaptation and change when you work hard through difficult things. And you can apply that to everything.
Mm-hmm.
To everything. How are you not doing the Bergner warm up like in your class once a week? Just all those things. I just can't imagine not.
Yeah, I mean, you should be. Well, we actually just did this last weekend. There's like a photo of it that I have here. So that's
you got the PVC pipes out.
Yeah, and that's just our coaches. And so what we do is take them through like a mock L2. And I just literally rip the material off from the L2.
Yeah,
and
I love it. Holy shit.
Together. And we've done this even where we've just invited members or aspiring coaches. Like if you think you want to coach, like you're just welcome to come into the workshop.
Yeah.
And so
you mean like one of your clients is like, hey, can I come? And you'd be like, yeah, sure, come.
Yeah.
Come to
and in
teach
fact,
a little bit.
We've done it and then been like, bring your parents because we're going to teach you how to squat and how to press above your head and how to hinge and pick something up. And they can never work out here, but if they learn how to do that correctly, it'll better their lives, right?
Yeah.
So we purposely do that all the time. And the two things that we talked about was having all the members move more than you're talking. So if you're talking and they haven't moved in 30, 40 seconds, there's an imbalance there. So they need to move more than you talk. And then the other thing is anybody walking out of your class, if they took your class, I'd say, all right, Sevan, or so-and-so, you just took Sevan's class. Like, what was the 2 points of performance on the back squat today? And if I can't tell you what they were, then that's a problem. You didn't communicate them enough to the group. And then we always only just focus on 2 points of performance and purposely ignore a bunch of other details just so that way people could absorb it and dial it in over time, right?
Joe Westerland, imagine any CrossFit sport athlete not drilling the fundamentals before every single practice or game. You can't because it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Imagine any non-CrossFit sport athlete, so let's say a volleyball player, not drilling the fundamentals before every single practice, meaning some serves and bumps and spikes. You can't because right. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. That's how they're going to warm up. They're going to work the fundamentals, and the same thing should happen with your group. And we use the PVC pipe a lot with the class. And I always tell the new people that comes in, doesn't matter if you're here for 5 minutes or 5 years, you're going to go through this thing the same exact way. And there's going to be something new that you'll pull out of it. I mean, I've been coaching for 12 years now and I'm an affiliate for 10, went and did my L2. and they made some slight corrections into my strict press that helped. Right? Just because they're always focusing on the fundamentals and improving the movement, virtuosity, as some might call it.
And hey, if you're doing a squat, if you're the worst teacher in the world, and you start your class with teaching people how to air squat, everyone's still going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get better for teaching it. You're going to probably see something. They're going to get better. Everything's going to get better. Even failure at this practice will make you better. Nothing bad's going to happen if you're doing air squats with people. Philip Kelly, the worst are the members and coaches who ignore the coach running the class. Absolute pricks.
I just crack that whip.
Yeah. I went into Joe Westerland's gym. It was probably the leanest I've ever been in my life. I remember it very well. I took a picture of my wife and sent it to my wife. It's probably the only selfie I've ever taken in a mirror. I couldn't believe how lean I was. I went into their locker rooms there. It was it. I don't think he still owns it. Maybe he does. CrossFit Omaha. And I was snatching there, and I snapped my snatch PR there. I think it's my lifetime snatch PR. It was 147.
Nice. 47. Use the 1-pounders, huh?
Probably something like that. But I just remember basically Joe walked over to me and was like, dude, if you just hung out with me for a minute, I could increase your snatch by 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And he was probably right, but I was like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, he probably saw quite a few fundamental things that if you just tightened up, you would put more weight on the bar without even having to get stronger.
Dude.
Right?
Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. I didn't take him up on that. I could. Ridiculous. It could have happened right there. Yeah. What is it if someone tells you, hey, I got a 205-pound clean and jerk, I can wake up from it. It's my, it's a young guy. Let's say he's been doing CrossFit for 5 years. He's 30 years old, and he says, I got a 205-pound clean and jerk. And you see him do it, and it's good form, and you can do it easy, but it's still his max. What do you think his snatch could be, or should be?
I mean, I'd have to see his overhead squat. You know what I mean?
I think I overheaded 175 pounds overhead squat 10 times at that point.
10 times?
Yeah.
Oh, then you should snatch that for sure. Then that means
that's crazy.
There's a problem there. You're not lifting with your legs enough. You're putting your low back into it. You probably don't have a vertical torso before you jump. There's probably just a bunch of, and it's the same thing with business. Like you look at a business that's like, oh, this business is kind of successful. Then you find out they don't have anybody on electronic reoccurring payment. You find out that hey, nobody follows up with the members when they leave or something like that. And all of a sudden you go, wow, we could do 2 or 3 minor but fundamental things of this business and it would grow. Same thing with your snatch. I look at it and there's 2 or 3 fundamental things that I know you're missing. And I'm like, hey, this is great news. We're going to tighten these super fundamental things up and your snatch is going to increase automatically.
I never back squatted 175 for 10 or front squatted, but I overhead squat 175 for 10 once. Maybe a few times. I know. It's weird.
What is that? How does that work out?
Just obsessing on movements. Because when I learned the overhead squat, I went to the UC Berkeley weight room. You know what's crazy too is that stunt right there got me kicked out of the UC Berkeley weight room. I did 175 for 10 and then dropped it, and they were steel weights.
Yeah.
I was in a cage, and it was so fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's a no-no. You can't do that. It's probably so loud.
Dude, it was crazy, dude. And back then, 15 years ago, it looked like you were doing stupid shit, even overhead squatting.
Yeah, it was totally foreign. Like an overhead squat, people are like, what?
Someone said my mile time on the 333 meter track was 7:27. I thought I was a stud. But I was 1 lap short.
It's closer to 8:02.
Yeah, I don't think it was ego lifting. I think I was just into maybe ego lifting, the snatch thing at Joe's gym, but I was just into all the weird thing. CrossFit was cool for someone like me because I was never good at sports or anything, but there were some things I could do that other people couldn't do. So I could get into a great overhead squat position. I could do muscle ups. I could do bar muscle ups before they were a thing. So I wanted to just do good at the shit that made me better than the guy who was better at me than 99% of the other shit. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a guy who's a fucking 300-pound back squat, but he can't overhead squat 175. So I thought there's something.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever pressed strict pressed more than 135.
Yeah, either. Strict press is a tough one. You got to really train that specifically to get that number to go up.
I came into CrossFit with a 135, like on day one, and it never changed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's because, for that particular movement, you're going to have to like train it with like progressive overload where you're doing it like 2-3 times a week. You're building up in percentage, you're adjusting volume, like all that has to come into play for it to climb.
Boring.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Caleb's mom. No, Caleb's mustache. People lose their minds if you overhead squat a bar in a bodybuilding gym. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Most of those guys can't get into that position. Shoulders are too tight or whatever the case is.
Wow. See, like this is just crazy to me. My pool boy, I strict pressed 200 for 3 yesterday. God damn.
Yeah. Whoever said that they were manifesting pool boy, show up to the show. There you go. I saw that comment earlier when we were talking about it. And here he is. Yeah, there he is. Jake Chapman. See?
That's cool.
Jake, you did it.
You think this is true? Rambler does a 295 press?
No fucking way. No way. No way. 295 strict press. Get out of here with that, Rambler.
Oh, this is Joe Westerland's favorite subject. Here we go. Daniel Garrity. Joe Westerland, my Uber driver in Boise, told me his daughter tore her ACL playing soccer. Joe's a expert on ACL shit, by the way. I'm not being facetious either. Fantastic reference for all sorts of shit like that. But is now building back through CrossFit. Made me think of you last time you're on the show. I think it was Joe who introduced me to the idea that when you lose ankle flexion, everything starts, the places you compensate for it start moving up towards the hip, whether it be your knees, your hip, your back. It just starts moving throughout all the other places in the body to try to compensate for it.
Yeah.
And that made me even more of a proponent of having barefoot kids.
Yeah, so they don't lose that dorsal flexion.
I did hear this, and I really hesitate to say it, but I do think that there could be some validity to it. But I don't think anyone has to worry about it, but there could be some validity to this. I did hear someone say when my kids were young that if you don't ever put shoes on, first of all, when your kids first starts learning how to walk and then you put shoes on them, it seems batshit crazy. That seems crazy to me. It's like, dude, do you know how hard it is to fucking walk? It is. If you've ever had a kid, it's crazy, dude. And you can sit there and be like, wow, I can't believe all of us made it. It's a lot of fucking neurological firing and balancing going on. The feet are tiny compared to the rest of the structure. And the way it can move and be so agile, it's a trip, dude. I'd be curious. You know how like you can see, you can run a program on your computer and see how hard your CPU is working and you see the numbers. When we walk, the brain must be just, especially in the early days, it must be just at full capacity. A chance of the CPU overheating, right? And so your kid learns how to walk, and it's like day one, and then you put shoes on them. It's like, are you crazy? And at that point, all the mechanics are going to change. By the way, and kids' shoes don't even fit like the way our shoes do. It's so weird. It's like their feet are different. The ratios of their feet are different. They're not even like real shoes. They're just pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but going back to what I was saying, what I heard that if you don't ever put shoes on your kids, that it will affect them later, that people will struggle to like, they'll never get their full ability to operate at their highest capacity in shoes. But meaning like if you didn't put shoes on your kid until they were 7 ever, that when they put them on when they're 7, something will be wrong. But I don't think anyone has to worry about that. But there might, if you did run that experiment, I suspect there could be something. You do still need to practice in shoes. Most of you will, but I don't think anyone here, and I've never seen anyone who needs to worry about that.
Do you remember the Kelly Starrett study in the San Francisco public schools?
Was that the sitting at the desks one?
Yep.
Tell me about it. I forget.
Yeah. So they basically just watched a bunch of kindergartners run and just observed their movements, and they all ran beautifully because it's just written in your DNA. It wasn't heel striking. They had the nice roll of the foot, all that. Right. And then I think by the time they followed them just in first grade, so like 2 school years of sitting, right? So kindergarten plus first grade. by the time that they were at the end of first grade and running, like a large percentage of them were heel strikers. And so they ran inefficient and there was going to be issues with it. And by the time they're in the second grade, like almost all of them were like that. And then some of them started to already have like loss of range of motion in their hips.
Wow.
Just in those first 3 years, if you go to the end of the second grade, but mostly the damage was done in those first 2 years. And by the end of that third year in second grade, like it was pretty bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
My kids, in the cartoons when people run, they run with their arms back like this.
Yeah.
That's because that's how kids run.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And Avi was
just head first it.
Dude, it's crazy, dude. And what was I and I when I saw that I saw the movie Aquaman, and in the movie he was running with his brother, and his brother was running like this, and Aquaman's like, try going like this, and he had to teach his older brother that, who's like a grown man, but since he'd always been in water, he swam like this. And but that's how kids are. It's so funny. My son Avi didn't stop doing that until late. All the other kids in all the sports he was doing were all already ran like this, but I never told him to do that. But finally one day it just clicked. But it's a trip. They run like this, like those cheesy superhero cartoons. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Sevy needs a stand-up desk now. I want to redo all my shit. Hey, you know who that guy Andrew who's coming on, the guy who runs the podcast for Mark Bell? Yeah. He's coming on. And he's starting a seminar on how to set up a podcast studio.
Oh, cool. It's funny. I watched their recent video where they moved into a new space. Did you see it?
Or did they close down the old space?
Yeah.
Did they say why?
No, I don't think he did in the video. I think when Mark said it, he just said like, hey, we had the free and open gym for a long time and we're just shifting spaces now because we're combining it into the podcast studio or something. I don't know. Maybe
are they going to charge for the gym now?
I don't think the gym's big enough for it to be like a public gym. I mean, it's big. Don't get me wrong. Like it's going to be a badass gym, but I think that when they shifted it, it was to have it be a little bit more private.
When I was there a month ago, it was massive.
Yeah,
and it was massive, and they had every machine you could ever think of.
Yeah,
it was crazy. It was.
Don't get me wrong. This gym now looks like it's pretty big, but I think it's just gonna be for Mark and whoever he invite, like an invite only over gym. But Andrew was inside the room where they were gonna do the podcast studio, and he's like explaining how he's gonna set it up and what he has to do for the echo and things like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I was also in my mind too. I was like, damn, I'm close enough that I wonder if I could just go hang with him for a day.
Yes.
Just to learn it.
He's really cool. They're all actually really cool.
Yeah.
They're all actually really cool.
I got to meet Mark once at Greg's. And his brother.
I wonder if I could pay him to come do the studio here.
Yeah. I definitely want to go out and see the studio because he was saying it looked like it sounded like they were going to do like a couple different parts to it, maybe. So you could have like the one main podcast studio and then there'd be a couple other recording spaces. I can't remember now exactly, but yeah, we do.
Do you read the chat? Far Sean Chops, welcome to the show. All the tips, all the fine nuance and tips you need to learn about having anal without lube. Welcome to the show.
Hell yeah, awesome. He's into it.
Hot lady told me she likes my feminine side. Okay, I did that. Oh, I'm getting ready to go on the Garrett Glinton podcast.
Oh, look at this question.
Oh, golly gee. How did you know? I gave the base jumping example earlier, and I've given this example before also about people who just misunderstand things. So my mom was an attorney for many years. She charged $400 an hour. And I remember going to the Apple store with her one time, and it takes, the trip to the Apple store, let's say, took us 3 hours, right? You got to go there, you got to park, you got to buy the stuff, you got to get back in your car, you got to go home. It was like 20 miles from her house. And I told her, I'm like, hey, you should get an extra mouse here. I think you'd like this mouse better. And the guy's like, no, it comes with a mouse. And I go, yeah. And he goes, if you don't like it, just come back. And it's like, he didn't have the full picture.
Yeah.
He didn't have the full picture. He wasn't saying anything wrong. He just didn't have the full picture. And so,
It'd be cheaper for her to buy the mouse and not have to come back than it would be.
hey, buddy, it's a compliment. I'm his grandfather. That's the thing. I'm his grandfather. I had his dad when I was 14. I'm his grandfather. Yeah, we can talk about Volkanovski. You want to know something? I wonder if anyone else saw this. So Volkanovski, you guys know he used to weigh like 220 pounds, right? Now he weighs 145 pounds. And what I saw around his waistband was this little tiny extra skin from when he used to be 240 pounds. It's very subtle. Only those of us who are experts in the field of flesh would see it. I do think that Alexander did not look in the shape that we've seen him look maybe 3 or 4 fights ago. And I don't know if he's off the juice or using different drugs or I don't know what, but he did not quite look like he was in the shape that I've seen him look in. I would also say this, and the people I was watching the fight with were making fun of me. I think he was winning the fight. And they're like, yeah, until he got knocked the fuck out. And I'm like, yeah, but he's winning the fight. And they're like, until he got knocked the fuck out. I think he was the better technician. I thought that I didn't see anything. He clipped Volkanovski on his chin. I need to see it back. I need to run it back. I'm not convinced. Burn. Yeah, this is interesting. Sev, he had a drinking problem this year. 2 KOs in a row. Chuck Liddell all over. Yeah, he has been saying that he's been drinking a lot of alcohol. If I had to guess your guys' names and ages, I'd say the father is Phil. Close. My name is Abdul Jamal Hassan Habibi, but close. Phil works. My friends call me Phil. He's 58. Close. And he works at a Starbucks as a cafe manager. And does some casual work as a gas station cashier a couple days a month. How are you doing, my friend? Do not steal the candy bar. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Jake Chapman, UFC for men is like Sex in the City for women. I never watched Sex in the City, but I heard that it was written for male characters, and then they decided to make it female characters. And that's
interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And so you get this whole genre of women who are perverts, but it's really men, and then it's screwed with all the women who watched it. Like it was like some way to be. There was some fulfillment in just riding cock all the time.
I remember when that movie came out, I was still bartending at Black Angus, and the amount of like women that would come in there in groups and order cosmopolitans and flirt was insane.
And that was the drink of the show?
Yeah, I think so. It had to have been. I'm not familiar with any of the Sex in the City at all, except for the fact that I know that there's just a bunch of promiscuous women living in the city being boss bitches.
Yeah, just riding old Coca-Cola. Hey, the best show I've ever seen is Californication with Duchovny. God, I love that show. The son, that's you, Matt.
Yeah,
I think Trent Jones works. He's 24, comic book store cashier and pizza delivery man. Why does he get? That's a cool as shit for 24, dude. I would kill that at 24.
Comic book store cashier and pizza delivery man. It's only cool for 2 more years, then people start to question your choices in life.
Now, Foreign Chops, I would like to tell you who I think you are. I think that you woke up this morning and ate some Pop-Tarts and reduced your life expectancy by 2 weeks. The first thing in the morning you do is you turn on your 3 giant gamer TVs in your bedroom and dust off your joysticks and your remote controls and all that. You go to your Amazon account and look at the new headset you've wanted to buy for the last 6 months, but it costs $32.95, and you can. God, that seems so that seems so fucking expensive to you. Your penis is raw because you masturbate to porn so much, and you struggle with that deeply because you think that fuck, I'm never gonna get any pussy if I keep doing this. You find girls with septum rings attractive, and you think insecurity and mental illness is a normal feature of the Homo sapien. And when you heard me say Homo sapien, you got offended because you thought that was some sort of derogatory comment towards homosexuals. Am I close? Come on, baby. Come on.
Well, he said, what about my name, age, and job?
You don't even, you've been using a fake name for so long, since you started your hormone therapy and transitioning. Your name is, your first name is Super. Your last name is Victim. And you're thinking about moving to Canada. Fucking Trump wins.
He says, clearly you think I'm unemployed.
No. You have a night job at the Quick Stop. But you cost the company more in stealing Slurpees than in actual money you sell.
You would know this as a cafe manager.
So that so I hope you appreciated that. Let me that brings me to this. That brings me to this. We haven't talked about this in a long time, but you know that for psychological issues, there used to be a surgery. It was called lobotomy, frontal lobotomy. They basically would either just open up the front of your brain, your forehead, and take a butter knife and mush the front of your brain with a butter knife, or they would just fucking take a spike and drill it up here between your eyes along the angle of your nose and just hammer a spike into your brain. By the way, that wasn't nice that I did that to you, far and chops. I'm sure there's some nuances to your character, and I apologize for judging you just because you come from Twitch. That was brutally honest. I should be more subtle, but accurate.
Yeah.
So they made that illegal. And since then, there are no surgeries for being misbehaving. That like it became it's cruel and unusual punishment. And now, for some reason, if you have a mental disorder, it's a legitimate surgery to chop your penis off or chop your tits off or give someone drugs to either increase their testosterone or suppress it. So we've fallen back into some weird, grotesque Stone Age, the way we're treating our fellow man. Instead of helping them, we've become codependents. But I found this, the septum ring is just pure idiocy to me, but check this out. Here we go.
In the day, all the mentally ill people got this piercing done, but nowadays it seems like all the mentally ill people are choosing to get this piercing done. Back in the day, all the mentally ill people got this piercing done, but nowadays it seems like all the mentally ill people are choosing to get this piercing done.
And why is that? What do you think it is? Why are the mentally ill people getting their nose pierced and dyeing their hair blue? I think it's fair. Someone could be like, hey, you're making a presupposition that's true. Dude, I think we can go with it's a strong correlate.
Yeah.
You woke up, you got in your car, you drove down to CVS, you bought blue hair dye, you slid your ATM card in there, you came home and spent the day dyeing your hair blue.
Does that
concern the whole time that your 13 bracelets are going to get caught on your septum ring as you're doing your hair?
13 bracelets.
I mean, dude, what?
Yeah, that's interesting. Does that type of behavior just like is it an attention thing? Is it because it just kind of demands attention? You remember the old who the fucking pickup artist dudes that were just like the biggest fucking weirdo nerds, but just like would show people how to like it was like the pickup artist or something like that, and it was like helping nerds get laid. But they would wear this like it'd be this pink fucking fedora like scarf, and they would wear this like top hat or whatever to the bar and would just wear this like ridiculous stuff because it just like demanded attention. And they would like walk in, and once they got the attention, they would try to like utilize that to like pick up chicks.
It's not a fact that blue hair makes you crazy. I'm just saying it's a strong correlate. Look, Brianna Roney, Danielle Brandon had blue hair at one point. Yeah, and she's pretty wild, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, that kind of exemplifies our point.
yeah, she's wild, right?
Yeah.
We're pretty simple creatures. We're pretty robotic. There is a strong, like 90% of the people who not get septum rings in hair, they have a thought or a group of thoughts or perceptions that are causing them to do that. It is not attractive. It is not attractive. And I'm going to go out on a limb and think that if you do find it attractive, it's not attractive that you find it. It's not the word attractive. It's out of curiosity that you're interested in that. It's just not attractive. It's just not. I'm gonna stand by that. Small boobs are attractive. Big boobs are attractive. Tall girls are attractive. Short boys are attractive. Everything. There's all sorts of attractive things. They're on different They're on different scales and interests and things like that. But dyeing your hair blue and punching a hole through that really sensitive part of your nose that no one even wants touched, and then you punch a hole through that. God damn it. I want you to punch a hole through this thing. Are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah, no boobs. No boobs are fine. There's all these things like on a superficial level that someone may think is good or bad, but it's not. It's all just like we all just want like intimacy. But the blue hair, it's like somehow you're drawing someone to you for the wrong reason. The reason to get a septum ring, here's the reason to get a septum ring. I'll tell you the reason. So that you know that anyone who's attracted to you is not who you should go after. How's that? That's the only thing I could think of.
It's like you try it on and anybody that approaches you, you go, that was a trick. That was
yeah,
just to
and
show
the
that
person
you're
who
not
thinks
worthy.
it's absolutely disgusting and like, what the fuck? That's the person you want. Be like, all right, you're my target. Oh. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
I need to leave soon to take Avi. Can you take the twins to your mom's, or do I need to drop them off?
Okay, I'm gonna get off the podcast now. I'll stop fooling around with my friends.
Okay.
Okay. Bye. Love you. Listen, if you want a crazy bitch, date a redhead.
Naturally crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want a crazy fucking dude? Date a redhead.
Have you been keeping up on Tommy G's videos?
No.
Okay. He wrote. I watched the one. I kept looking for the one in the Bay Area because remember he was out here with like Ricky. And,
Oh
like,
yeah.
all that stuff.
And
then it was like the like hardest Bay Area Afghan gang.
Was that Trent's mom on the phone? It was. Yes, it was. Good call. Damn, you quick.
We like you. Welcome to the show.
What? Sorry. What about the Afghan gangs?
Oh yeah, so it was like the Afghan gang or whatever out here in the Bay Area, and they're based out of Fremont. And so I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm gonna check this out. I haven't seen Tommy G, so I threw it on as like background noise. And like a couple minutes into this, I was like, what the? These dudes are fucking crazy. Like not crazy as in like gangster. Like these dudes don't think. They have no discernment. They don't know what the fuck is going on. Like
these guys he hangs with,
dude. In one fucking sentence, he goes, Tommy G brings up and he goes, yeah, well, if you go back to Afghanistan, like, is there certain things you disagree with? Like the fact that women can't go out in public without a male, they can't drive, they can't be educated, blah, blah, blah. And the kid goes, he's like, well, that's more or less like that's a protective thing. Like, do you really just want your woman out there? And then he says one other thing and he goes, oh, but I don't mean to be sexist. Like, what the fuck? And then they go, okay, are you from Afghanistan? He goes, no, I'm from here, but I can't wait to go back to my country. And
have you ever been
afraid?
Have you ever been around a man who feels like he has to always protect his woman? Like everything she does, he has to go out with her?
Yes.
It's fucking holy shit.
Hey, dude, you can put that with the blue hair and the fucking septum ring.
Holy
like dudes
shit,
that are like that. Dudes that are like that.
I got to tell you someone.
Wives go anywhere.
I'll tell you someone I know that's like that. It's fucking crazy. I'm so bummed this person's like that.
Yeah.
Walked into the local bookstore yesterday. First book in the kids only section. The book Bodies Are Cool was there. All right. I love you guys. Suze, I got to go. Obvious tennis tournament today. I'm not sure if I'm doing that or if I'm gonna stay home with the Rugrats.
Alrighty. I'll talk to you later.
RB, I still can't believe you had Patrick Bet David on here. He's been on a roll. What are you talking about? You can't believe he's been on here. What are you?
RB, just you wait. Just you wait.
He can't believe he's been on here.
Just you wait.
Thank you for tuning to the Sevan Podcast, the greatest host in the entire podcast space. It's been a pleasure dealing with you.